Hey everyone, I hope you're hot, cause I'm gonna go down. I'm Icemaniak and welcome to my BLADER guide for Mu Legends. So, let me start off real quick by saying the BLADER is not the same as in closed beta. This is open beta right now and the BLADER has been nerfed dramatically. So, if you're playing BLADER, you won't do the deal. You won't be able to deal the same damage as you did in the closed beta if you played that. It's just way weaker. But the BLADER is still a fun class to play, and I tried some things in my streams, and I feel like this one is pretty fleshed out. Now, the ideal situation, I feel like, with playing with a Whisper like all day long, is that when he does 60% damage, like in a dungeon, that you do 40%. That's like the, I feel like that's the best case scenario for a BLADER. So you only do 40% damage in a party with a Whisper, and he does 60%. Now, let's first start off with my soul build. I did attack 30 for the passive. Hunting skill inflicts 10% additional damage on elite monsters. I did critical rate as well. This because if you're in like a mob of fucking 30 monsters, you're gonna hit them a lot. And every time you crit, it's gonna deal a lot more damage. And now I'm actually going for health 30. For the life skill. For lifesteal. Attacks restore HP by 3% of the damage. This is very useful to keep yourself up and running, because you're literally inside all of them, spinning and having fun. So it's very useful to actually, you know, stay alive. Now, for my skills, I changed some things around. In the CBT, it was mostly self-buffing and spinning, and while you're spinning, doing the auto attacks. So a lot of BLADERs don't know, but you can cyclone and auto attack at the same time. This is also good for keeping your mana upkeep. Like if you hit a monster while spinning and auto attacking, you will get your mana back. So cycloning is not really so much of a mana waste. I had that question a lot in the streams. But so I decided to put some bursty things in there and also some debuffs for enemies. So the main skills I use is obviously Cyclone and the auto attack, which I just showed you. But then we have the gravity deflection, raging shout, and the charge combo. You get the shout and the gravity deflection from the expert skills, which is fear, gush, and overdrive. I don't use overdrive, but overdrive is good for the passive, which buffs your attack speed every time you hit up to 5 times, which is a lot of attack speed. I picked fear and gush for the bursty type of damage at the beginning of a fight, which helps you with the damage department, of course. Also the passive, increase attack by 10% when you have 50% or lower HP. And the passive, increase attack by 10% if there are 5 or more enemies within 10 meters. So in big mobs, you'll do a lot of damage. Of course, not as much as a Whisperer. That day has passed. It's not gonna happen. At least not that I've seen. There might be some better builds out there, but this is what I use. So the combo consists of when the fight starts, Whisper puts down an end and all of that. You shout with R. Then you do this one, knocks everyone up, and then bam, you go inside them. Now you're in the middle. So what you do then, you buff yourself with Focus Strike. Weapon skills attack inflict 50% additional damage and you increase your attack speed. So we activate that and then we start spinning, baby. Then we start spinning. And yeah, that's how you clear out mobs pretty easily as a BLADER. It's still gonna be hard sometimes, they're gonna do a lot of damage, but that's why we have the last ditch effort. Create a shield that increases attack by 5%, so it increases attack as well, and blocks damage for 10 seconds. This shield absorbs as much as 20% max damage. Now, I know that there's actually redemption, which actually makes you evade everything, but I feel this one is better because it gives the buffer 10 seconds. So even if you don't reach the cap of max HP, you know, that the mobs are doing you, you still have a little shield left. So I feel like this is more of a safety buffer, especially with the crash damage reduction, plus 10%. So it goes up to 30% of your max HP, which is like a shield of like 36k, which is a big shield, to be honest. So yeah, as I said, Raging Shout, then we do this, then you bump on in, which also stuns the enemies, of course, and then you do the attack speed buff, and you just keep on hitting. You just keep on hitting. Mana won't be an issue. Mana will kind of be an issue when you do the R and W, and then the E. Just do 2 auto attacks, right, and you got enough mana for whatever you're gonna do. Mana is not an issue with Blader at all. Like I've heard some people talk about you want to put mana regen and stuff. No, you don't. You don't need to do that. There's no way that's gonna help you much. But yeah, onto the artifacts. Obviously, this game changed a lot from CBT to OBT. You can't just pick whatever. You first need to pick up the growing sprout, but after that you can probably craft for some more stuff. Now, I think Frenzy will actually... There are like 3 options. There's Frenzy, increase attack by 1%, blah blah blah. You probably know what Frenzy is. We got Hysteria, and this is for a critical rate build. Decreases basic damage by 30% and increases critical damage. So the more you crit, the more damage you do, but normal attacks don't deal as much. I feel like this is a little bit of a two-edged sword, because if you don't have any crits, this is pretty bad. So I think Frenzy in that occasion is more of a... You always get more damage with Frenzy. Or Frozen Heart, increased critical rate by 5% at the cost of HP recovery per second. Now, you don't necessarily need Frozen Heart, because you can also put soul points in critical rate, and you can get items with critical rate as well. As you can see, a plus 8% critical rate on my weapon. And if we check our stats, let's see, where is it? Critical rate is 18%, which is pretty decent, especially with the amount of, you know, damage that you, the amount of attacks that you do. So the critical rate, 17%, is pretty good. So I don't think you need Frozen Heart. So I'm probably going for Frenzy. People might like Hysteria better. That's totally up to them. But I'm going for Frenzy for the extra attack for 2 seconds, and it has 10 stacks. So yeah. The reason that I'm rushing through all of this is because well, people asked me to do it a little quicker, you know. Now I actually included the soul build as well, so 30 attack, 30 critical rate. Now going for 30 health. After that, I'm not sure yet. I'm still pretty low on the good old soul level. It takes way longer in OBT to level than in CBT. But after that, I might be going for like full crit rate. I'm not sure about that yet, but I'll have to see. For weapon, I like to use the greatsword. I don't have the money to actually try the whatchamacallit, the dual swords, but I feel I'm so familiar with this, with sweep and with blood pillage, that I just do it, you know. But yeah, there's like, you can go either for sweep or for blood pillage. I like blood pillage more because you get HP back. You get 1% from outgoing damage as HP back. So for me that feels pretty nice, because I'm always in the middle and I'm always dying, so you know. But you could also go for sweep. It does a little more damage. But they removed the knock up. It's now a knockdown. And it stuns them for way less than a knock up, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much up to you. I don't know about Shatter. I never really got into it. I tried it a few times, but I feel like sweep or blood pillage works better for me. It's totally up to you what you do with it. But yeah, if you want to do a dual wields, go ahead. I didn't really have any time to test it out. I'm sorry for that, but yeah. I feel like this is the closest way to deal actual damage in a fight. And yeah, hopefully it helps you a bit as well. But as I said, Blader is it's so hybrid of a tank and a damage dealer, but it doesn't do anything well. Other than debuffing enemies with the shout, for example. You got some other skills that debuff enemies, which is pretty good. Good for the party as well. But for my own damage, this feels like the best way to go. I'm sorry if some things are wrong, but I'm gonna leave it here. I hope you find it useful a little bit. And thank you all so much for watching. Stay cool, and we'll see you all tomorrow with a brand new video. Yeah, goodbye!